Zen 3 was announced today. Let's recap and I'll give you my thoughts. So AMD announced today that the new Zen 3 chips, the 5600X, 5800X, 5900X, and 5950X will all be available on November 5th. Now they are sticking with the 6, 8, 12, and 16 core variants of their chips. I thought personally they would have a 10 core variant to compete with Intel and the 10 core processor chips, but as of this announcement, that's not on the horizon. AMD also announced that there will be a 19% IPC gain over their Zen 2 counterparts, which is pretty amazing considering the clock speeds are essentially the same. Now all of this is nice if it's true. Of course we'll have to wait for the third-party independent benchmarks to verify. I hope AMD is correct, but we'll wait and see. Now all that being said, a 19% performance increase is something that certainly would be great, but I'm a bit disappointed. Firstly, I'm disappointed because I thought we would actually see core clock increases. I know we're getting an IPC gain and the architecture has changed and it's supposed to run faster, assuming everything AMD has told us is true. However, I thought we'd see them push closer to 5 GHz on their base clocks and certainly on their boost clocks being able to get up to 5 GHz. This is something the Intel fanboys have been on the AMD fanboys about is, we can overclock, we can get to 5 GHz, and most of the Ryzen chips have fallen short. They're usually around 4.7, something like that. And we are seeing the boost clocks to 4.7, 4.8, 4.9, but we haven't hit the 5 gigahertz rather. And I think that was kind of lacking in this particular launch. Secondly, and something that there was a little asterisk on, but not very well covered by AMD during the launch, is that only the 5600X is going to have the included CPU cooler. It does look like from their website it's going to be the Ray Stealth cooler, which is the smaller one. Remember, the Spire cooler is the one that's a bit beefier. Neither of them are LEDs or RGB or anything like that. But it looks like now the 5800, the 5900, etc., they're all going to need you to go out and buy an aftermarket cooler. Now, this isn't a huge deal, but keep in mind the price to performance, even though it's still there with Ryzen, one of the biggest benefits was actually having the fact that they would have an included cooler and you wouldn't have to go spend $30, $40, $50 on an aftermarket cooler. Now, if you're buying the 5900 or 5950X, you're probably going to go with AIO anyway, or maybe a big Noctua cooler or something like that. So it's not really a big deal, but certainly, the 3700 series, the 3700X, the 3800X, those came with the Spire cooler or the Prism cooler actually, and it did an adequate job of keeping your system cool and you didn't have to go spend that extra money. So some of the lower end Intel chips now come a little bit closer just because some of them do actually have a cooler, but in the grand scheme of things, if you're paying about the same for them and you have to go buy the cooler anyway, that's no longer a deterrent. It no longer helps AMD with the sale of those chips. And lastly, I'm disappointed with the pricing on this launch. So we do have a $50 increase over the previous generation of processors. We also have the fact that on most of the processors, you're no longer getting that inbox cooler. So now you're looking at, for the lower end chips, starting with the lower end chips, $299, $449, $549, and $700 respectively for the stack. Now, while I can't say I'm surprised in the price increase, the fact that AMD is getting closer to Intel on pricing is, a little disappointing. It is expected though, because the chips are performing better. And we saw that with Zen 2 and with the 3000 series of chips. And it looks like we're going to see the same for the 5000 series of chips. All right, so those are my quick thoughts on the launch. I am still excited. To be honest with you, I was looking at upgrading my 2600X from 6 core 12 threads to one of the, what would have been the 5800X chip, the 8 core 16 thread. However, now that the price has gone up significantly, I am actually going to look at maybe just getting a 3800X because I am expecting the prices of these Zen 2 processors to go down. Maybe not necessarily the XT chips, which 100% honest with you, probably shouldn't have been made in the first place, but here they are. But I was looking at that, so now I'm kind of on the fence. I do have till November 5th to figure it out. In addition, if I'm going with the 5000 series chip, I have a B450 motherboard, so the BIOS updates now doesn't look like they're going to be out until January. So it's either wait till January to get one, or get a B550 board, or go with the 3800X and just be done with it. So we got some decisions to make as consumers, but let me know what you guys think in the comments about the launch itself, about whether you're leaning about going 5,000 or 3,000 series now because of the pricing. Let me know what you think about the coolers. Am I just blowing it out of proportions and not a big deal? And just let me know your thoughts in general. While you're down there, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, the notification bell, all that good stuff. And as always, guys, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.